what win-win situation, what is Nigeria getting and what is BRICS? What is Nigeria giving? What is BRICS bringing to Nigeria?
Thank you very much for your question. And first, let me say how happy I am to have with me my colleague, Ambassador Adekeye. He's probably the most, if there's anybody I know has been advocating seriously for Nigeria to be a member of BRICS over the last couple of years, he's probably one. Why folks like me have remained somewhat skeptical. Why am I skeptical? And I will answer some of your concerns. You know, the same, by the way, I'm grateful for the for your report, because the conversation started way back around year 2000 with Jim O'Neill classifying some countries. It was then BRIC, not BRICS. And subsequently, meetings started between 2003. There were meetings on the margin of the United Nations General Assembly. Russia, China, you know, began the meeting. They met a couple of times. Even their defense ministers met. And they had, I think, the formal meeting around 2009, you know, where they brought in Brazil. I guess because they looked at that region, Brazil was the largest, with the largest economy, and they brought in Brazil, you know. And subsequently, in 2010, they had their first meeting, I think, in Russia in 2009. And in 2010, they invited South Africa to come and join, which is why we now have BRICS. Now, what has troubled me really is, number one, why did the Russians ignore Nigeria? We should be concerned. Why did the Russians ignore Nigeria? That's number one. Number two, we are excited today, but come to think of it, all the values and the benefits that we might think we will gain from BRICS, the question is, are we not gaining them from all other institutions that we are involved in today, or are we not gaining them from the countries that we are dealing with today? We are dealing with China, for example. They are building infrastructures across this country. We have fairly good relationship with the Russians. And then we talk of trade. Yesterday, I think it was, there was an economic analysis that was put on channel television, late night, you know, news, that broke down the percentage of Nigerian trade with Africa is poor. Very, very poor. Then you begin to wonder, these countries, when it comes to trade, they are among the heavy traders in the world. And we do not come close. So the question is, again, we are also excited, but we not ask ourselves, what are we going to trade with these people, if even our own African trade is very poor, at a dismal position? And the last point I want to make is that, and I'm sure my colleague would, you know, answer all these questions. As of today, we belong to so many organizations, many of which we are not even funding properly or contributing our share of what we needed to do. So the question remains for me, yes, we may want to join BRICS. We are so excited. We are rushing now 19 years after. Is it out of ego that, oh, we missed it or something like that? But I think we should do a critical analysis. What are we going to gain today that we are not gaining from other institutions that we belong to, number one? Number two, it's of course the fact that BRICS started, among other things they want to do. I mean, they have this vociferous opposition to the use of the dollar as a global trading, you know, currency. And they want to see whether they can come up with something different, you know, within the global system. But here's the deal that after they've made all the, should I say, all the noise and statements, I think just before the end of the year, India pulled out and said, no, it did not pull out of BRICS, but said, no, it's not going to pull out of using the dollar for its trading. So you now have a little problem there again, that even the countries who are forming it, the values they want to project that, look, let's see whether we can equalize other currencies instead of just using dollar as the common denominator.
Reduce the dollar ratio.
You now find that they too are backing away to say, no, we have too large a trade to deal with the rest of the world and, dealing in this currency. So these are just my concerns. But if Nigeria wants to join, sure, why not? We can, but we must be certain of what we want to gain and how these things are. And that will bring us back to the main concern that if we want to really be active and gain, we're not just going to be there and say we are partners. We must also have something to trade with in the global system apart from oil.